Many of our artists that were big, they first got big in Europe. When the Europeans had put a stamp on them, or the Americans, we then embraced them. Shame on you. You are waiting for somebody to make it to Hollywood, to so and so that you say they are ours. Oh, you know, he's from Nigeria, he's from my village. Where were you when that boy was unemployed, trying to earn a living?
I'm a king. Yes.
Number one, don't tell me how impossible it was. I was in Durban in 2001, a meaningless nobody on the periphery, and I encountered Rastafarians. The Rastafarians are who planted a seed about reparations. The rest of the people in the conference were talking about complicated things. The Rastafarians, and I was only with the Rastafarians because they were the ones with a tolerance for a nobody, right? And the Rastafarians began to tell me about repair. But they also talked about repair from the harm we've done to ourselves and repair from the harm others have done to us. This reparations movement is not a movement that has been kept since 2001 by the likes of us. It was the Rastafarians, it was the indigenous people, it was people who were considered on the margins of society who kept the flame burning. When academics come at this, we come and must come at it with humility. Number one, may we have the farmers back here. May we have the Rastafarians back here. May we have the creatives back here. Bob Marley did not sing many things in 3.5 minutes. In 3.5 minutes and 4 songs, he did. I'm calling on every writer. It is not the length or complexity of what you write. It is the simplicity of the message, its connection and resonance of the people. Number 2, call to action. Our artists have been robbed and robbed and robbed. Robbed by the lack of systems that institutionalize their knowledge, their art craft, everything that our people can do. The creative economy is almost 5% of Kenya's GDP. It will soon be 15%. It's about the same percentage for South Africa, slightly higher now for Nigeria. And if you ask our people who want liberation, they do nothing. And then outsiders come and commercialize Burna Boy and everybody else who's talented, and then determine what lyrics they sing for what market. And the people stop singing for their own liberation. Why? Because they are neglected by the domestic audience, they are neglected by their governments, they are neglected by the petty bourgeoisie, they are neglected by lecturers and academics and NGO folks like you and I. Why? Because when we have a moment to deal with arts and culture, we bring it as entertainment, not as part of discourse on how to institutionalize liberation as a repeated, daily, listened to call to action. So the second starting point is arts and culture will never become a space of liberation as long as you have the same colonial lens to it, which is you undervalue it, number one. Number two, you shun it. Many of our artists that were big, they first got big in Europe. When the Europeans had put a stamp on them, or the Americans, we then embraced them. Shame on you. You are waiting for somebody to make it to Hollywood, to so and so that you say they are ours. Oh, you know, he's from Nigeria, he's from my village. Where were you when that boy was unemployed, trying to earn a living? Look, I worry about governments, but I worry about us. We want governments to do liberation. We ourselves don't do any liberation. In your offices, how many books from local authors are there? From African publishing houses, how many? In your office here, how many? How many paintings? How many sculptures? How many artifacts, if you want to call them that? My friends, hypocrisy that thinks we can come here and pontificate to the African Union about how to do liberation, when the decoration in our offices is Picasso and Rembrandt. will not work. If you are a reparations movement at every dimension of your life, cuisine, when we visit you and you are taking us out for food, where do you take us out to? Oh no, we got a brilliant Italian restaurant and a French restaurant. You see, the cancer we are dealing with, McMeet, is a cancer that continues to give money to the privileged, and then when it is full of Italian food, begins to talk, we're losing our indigenous languages. We're losing what kind of nonsense is this? Fashion. Nigerian and Ghanaian fashion designers are beginning to get orders from New York, from London, from elsewhere. Now Africans have decided, actually, I may as well order from Nigeria because I saw Rihanna. You are sellouts. You are worse than Moise Chombe. You want to wait for someone in the US to say, oh, it's cool, before you decide it's cool. And then you come to this conference and you talk to me about agency against imperialism, agency against colonial oppression. No, my friend, you are the agent of imperialism and colonial oppression. Because if you can't liberate your value of beauty and good, how can you? So I've talked about knowledge, about food, about stuff. The last thing is about funding. How many young techies are here? You are young techies, you are into tech, right? Please tell them the truth. You are the least supported people. And then every time, because the donors are now talking about artificial intelligence, they call you to a conference and they say, can you talk about AI and social justice? Go to hell. Why do we always wait for somebody else to say something is a mega trend before liberation in the reparations movement is going to be about memory? Say memory. Memory is not going to make us dominate the world or unite from the Caribbean to Latin America. Imagination will. Can I repeat that? The struggle for reparations cannot just be about memory, because atrocity and tragedy has never gotten people to move from outrage to prominence, to agency and leadership. I need you to hear this. Emancipation from mental slavery is not only premised on a cartographical listing or biographical listing of atrocity, and even finding the best solutions for it to be paid for. The best redemption, the redemption song that Bob Marley started that you must complete, is this redemption that says, it was not true that I'm not human. It was not true that I don't have a sense of ownership. It was not true that I don't understand technology. The best redemption is imagination. The next reparations conference should be about how those who dare to imagine the future without denying the past can create a future that's not benchmarking itself against others and former oppressive entities. That begins to celebrate what black people have created, what Africans and Afro-descendants have created, what mixed race people have created in this world in terms of technology, of literature. Last but not least. So I said funding, right? Who finances the thing? How many people actually know how much we spend on banquets in our countries? State banquets. And NGO end-of-year Christmas party. And personal care. Yeah, self-care. How many? I'll give you a figure. Black contribution to the creative economy globally is sitting at between 5.3 trillion and 8 trillion. There's Africans, Afro-descendants in the Caribbean. In the US alone, Afro-American contribution to the creative economy is about 1.7 trillion. Do you want to know how much of it is in the hands of Africans and Afro-descendants? Do you want to know? Less than 3%. Can I repeat that? All these popular people that you heard that were Africans or Afro-descendants that you were watching on TV, including my sister Whitney Houston, when they died, the value that they controlled of their fame and their creative power was less than 3%. The frontier of reparations is reparative economies, both of the present and of the future. I'm not talking about inclusive development, I'm talking about reparative economies. Reparative economies cannot be anchored on the idea that we describe a problem and don't create the structures, the institutions, and the systems to change it. You cannot change oppression by a system of racial capitalism without having a system of empowerment. Because otherwise, we will have 100 years of outrage at this system. I have a simple call to action, which is, please, I beg you, when next we do reparative arts and culture, I want us to bring producers, sound engineers, those who do distribution, those who do things. Why? And techies. Because the ecosystem and the value chain of repair, we can only demand what we know was robbed, but we can only create what we know is possible. So friends, thank you for coming to this conference. Thank you for allowing Mahmoud to indulge me for more minutes than he had granted me. But thank you for accepting that, having identified the problem elsewhere for the last 2 days, the biggest problem in repair and injustice is you and me, the middle class, who describe this problem as though it is a football match far away, who in our daily lives, in our consumption patterns, in our reading patterns, in the TV we watch, on our TikTok patterns, because we are not paid on TikTok as black people, we do arts for entertainment. Until there's a redemptive economy component of it, it is you and I that are a problem, because we don't value people. We would rather pay for a foreign artist 10 times than we pay for a local. And to all the consultants in the room, this is a political struggle. If you only technically engage it, you will betray the politics of what is the ideology or what is the ideative framework. To all the academic institutions, please stop this beauty pageantry of saying who has the right framework, who doesn't have the right framework, what framework of analysis. You know, my Chinese friend, I told him, I spoke better English than him. We were at some fellowship in a Western school. So one day he got frustrated with me. He says, Brian, your English good, but my economics better. Thank you.
I'm a king, yes, I'm a king. I'm a king.